Hello everyone, welcome back to Surekha Azure Cloud Academy. In today's session, we will discuss about group policy and lab, like how we can apply group policies in real-time scenarios. So let's start. So first of all, what is group policy? Group policy is a centralized management technology in Active Directory. Instead of configuring each computer manually, administrators create policies once and Active Directory automatically applies those settings across the organization. Think about in a company like 5,000 computers are there and you have to apply below these policies. For example, password policy. You have to apply complex password and it has to expire in 30 days and you have to you should not use the repeated passwords, at least up to 7 passwords or whatever. Like that you want to apply a password policy in entire organization. And desktop restrictions, like you have to use a specific wallpaper on all the desktops, all your workstations, or you have to disable USB. You want to deploy a software, or you want to map a network drive or Windows updates, whatever it is. These all settings you can do using group policy like within no time, but these will apply on all workstations if you will apply these group policy settings in your domain. If you don't have group policy Active Directory, then you have to apply these policies in each and every computer. But this is nightmare, right? You cannot go and sit on each computer and applying group policy is not that much easier. And also, like, you cannot apply the same settings in all the desktops. They can be a manual errors. So this is the useful for group policy. So here, why a group policy matters? First of all, let's understand why group policy is critical in your enterprise environments. First of all, it provides centralized management, and second, it ensures consistency and every user receives the same configuration regardless of which computer that user is using. Third, it improves security. So administrators can disable risky settings, enforce password standards, they can control application usage, or they can disable USB drives or whatever it is. So these are the uses of group policy. So what is a group policy? A group policy object. What is group policy object? Group policy object contains policy settings and it has two main components. Those are group policy container and group policy template. Group policy container, that is Active Directory, and group policy template, that all policies will store in sysvol folder. When you are creating Active Directory, when you are configuring ADDS, like that time 2 folders were created. Those are sysvol folder and ntds.dit folder, right? In that, like that sysvol folder is there, right? That sysvol folder will store all these group policies. So this is the group policy template and group policy container. If you think of the group policy container as a blueprint and the group policy template as the actual content, if both are not synchronizing each other, then your group policy processing will be failed. So these has to be synchronized each other. Scope and application. Who gets what? Scope. Who can receive policy? Like based on organizational unit, domain, site, like whoever can receive policy, that is the scope. And what policy you are applying, application, who actually receives the policy based on security and WMI filters. A common misconfiguration is assuming that linking a GPU to an OU is sufficient, but that is not sufficient. You have to verify always, like that policy linking. After you linked the policy, like are you really applying the wherever you required on computers, like in organizational units. You have to ensure that is it really receiving that policy. So these are the things you have to verify. Where can we link a group policy object? One of the most consequential decisions in a group policy design is where you link a group policy. The link location determines the maximum scope of the policy, and getting it wrong means either under applying or over applying policy settings with real operational consequences. Here, like site level configuration is there, domain level configuration is there, OU level configuration is there. Site level configuration means GPO link to an ADs. If you are creating a password policy that you are applying on site level, means for example, you have a forest called carp.local is the forest. Domain.carp.local is the forest. Under that you have domains, multiple domains are there. US.carp.local, UK.carp.local, India.carp.local, like that you have different domains are there. If you are applying a group policy on site level, on means that you are applying on the domain, on the forest, means that policy will apply to the entire forest. Here the GPO order will be like local, site, domain, organizational unit. So here we discussed about site. Site means that entire forest. So if you are applying a group policy on site, password policy setting, for example, that policy will apply to the entire forest. So you think, okay, I don't need this password policy to the entire forest. I just need only to that specific domain. For example, us.carp.local is the domain. So I want to apply, I need that policy only to that users, whoever are there in US, only that users need that policy. So you have to apply that policy on the domain level so that other users will not receive this policy. Only these specific users who are there in us.carp.local, only those team will receive that policy. So they have to reset the password based on that policy. So that is the domain level. And other thing is OU level, organizational unit level. Means GP if GP was linked to the OU. So now I am thinking like, okay, I don't need this password policy to the entire domain in US. I just need only to that finance department, whoever users are there in that finance OU, finance department. Only those members, because that is the critical domain. So I need that team has to receive the that password complexity. So they have to reset the password using that password complexity password. Then I am applying my policy only to that specific team. For that, only to that OU I am applying. Then these all other users like other domain or forest other domains will not, this policy will not apply. It will apply only to that particular OU level. So like this we have the levels of policies we can link. Here you can see LSDOU. See here the processing order. Here you can see LSDOU means local, site, domain, OU. So here the order is local and then site and then domain and then OU. So here for example you have the policy that is applying in your local mission. So that policy will apply first. For example, you have applied a policy called a wallpaper. For example, you want to apply a wallpaper, a cat wallpaper you want to apply in your desktop. So you edited your local policy and you applied that policy in your local computer. So in that it will apply, that cat wallpaper will apply in your desktop. Then this site like in forest level, so I thought like my entire organization has to be in the same wallpaper. So that is the organization entire organization wallpaper is there. So I want to apply that wallpaper on all the workstations. So I applied that group policy on site level. So so it will overwrite whatever policy I have applied on my desktop, that will overwrite, and that site policy will apply on top of that. So now I can see instead of my cat wallpaper, it will show the organization wallpaper. Then again like in domain level, like I have us.corp.local domain is there. So I want to apply for my domain itself, it has to be specific wallpaper, not the entire organization. So my US domain is having a specific wallpaper as per my requirements. So I am applying my US wallpaper, US organization wallpaper I am applying. So it will on my desktop, like now it will not, that cat wallpaper will not be there, that site level applied wallpaper will not be there. Now only that wallpaper whatever applied in the domain, that wallpaper will be there. So again like I thought, okay, for my finance department I need a separate wallpaper, not the organization wallpaper or this domain wallpaper. So I want to apply my finance users a separate wallpaper. So I applied that wallpaper. So now that final wallpaper in OU whatever applied, that wallpaper will be there on my desktop. So like this group policies will inherit, like whatever the least policy is applying, that policy is the final policy. But here we can do, like we can block the inheritance, we can enforce the inheritance. Here, like as per my organizational rules, like I don't need that every domain has to their separate wallpapers. I need that my entire organization has to be the same wallpaper. Then what I will do, I will enforce my policy so that they cannot overwrite it. They cannot remove the site level group policy. So they can apply, these policies will apply if they will change, and inside that domain or organizational unit, but that site level policy will apply. So that is the enforce link. And block inheritance means there we can, if we'll apply that inheritance, you can block that also. You can isolate your domain and you can apply your own policy. That is the block inheritance. See here, inheritance by default the rule is like this, whatever I explained earlier, like child OUs inherit GPO settings from the parent OUs. A policy set at the domain level will flow down through all OUs unless explicitly blocked. Inheritance ensures baseline policies propagate without relinking to every container. So here, like if I am applying this inheritance, like it will like if I am removing that inheritance so that I can apply my own policy. Default authenticated users filter can be replaced when specific security groups to target or exclude subsets of users and computers within the OU scope. This is the most common method of fine-grained policy targeting. WMI filters. WMI filters use WOL queries to evaluate system conditions at processing time. If the query returns false, the GPO is skipped for that mission, regardless of link or security filtering. This is useful for OS versioning targeting. Like for example, you want to apply your policies only to that specific Windows 11 systems. I don't need this to be applied in Windows 10. So in that time, you can use these WMI filters. Block inheritance. An OU can be configured to block inherited GPOs from parent containers. This is a drastic measures that prevent all parent level policies from flowing into the OU. So this can be useful for isolating special purpose OUs like IT admin accounts. Like that you can block this inheritance. Enforce links. A GPO link can be marked as enforced. Means it will not override, which forces the GPO settings to take precedence over all other GPOs, including those linked lower in the hierarchy. So in these cases, this will not apply. This LSDOU will not apply in this enforcing links and inheritance. In these cases, it will not apply. It will apply only when you are blocking inheritance and you are applying a policy in your organizational unit. That time you have to block the inheritance. If you are blocking the inheritance also, if you are enforcing policy from the parent, that time you cannot block it. So these are the cases. See here the AD hierarchy, like domain, authentication, replication and policy. See here, first forest, that is the top level trust boundary and schema. On top of that you have domain, on top of that you have OU. Security filtering, like let the right users in purpose control who receives the policy. Security filtering allows administrators to precisely control who receives a policy. Imagine you have a software deployment group policy object, like you want to deploy a software. You don't want every employee to receive this software. So for example, you want to apply this software deployment on your sales department. So what you will do, you can create sales security group and grant apply group policy permission only to that particular group. So now only that sales department users receive the software, that others will not receive it. This will provide very granular control without creating multiple GPOs. So here WMI filters targeting by conditions. While security filtering targets who receives a policy, WMI filters target what kind of system the policy applies to. Windows management instrumentation filters use WQL or WMI query language, that is a query like syntax to query system properties at policy processing time. How this WMI filters work? A WMI filter is created as a separate object in the group policy management control, and then you will link it to a specific group policy object. When the group policy object is being processed on a client, the WMI filters query is executed against the local WMI repository. If the query returns at least one record, the filter evaluates to true and the GPO is applied. If the query returns no results, the filter evaluates to false and the group policy object is skipped entirely. For example, you are applying this group policy like Win32 operating system where version like 10, like you have Windows, wherever you have Windows 10 missions, this policy has to be like this query targets only to that Windows 10 and 11 workstations, excluding servers. So here like you can control the policy based on the versioning. Like you don't want like a window, for example, you are applying group policy Windows updates, but you want to exclude the servers. For client missions, you are updating Windows and there you can restart the missions, but servers you cannot restart whenever this policy is updated. That time you cannot restart your servers, right? You need the specific guidelines has to be there whenever you are restarting a server missions, because that will affect the clients. So that time you can use these WMI filters. So here, like in what we will do, we will create organizational units, and then we will create group policies, and then we link these group policy objects into the OUs domains and forest, and then we will test these group policies. So here, okay, let's start our lab session. So in earlier videos I have configured Active Directory, and we have configured client missions also, right? And also we have joined client missions in domain. So today in this session what we will do, we will create organizational units, and we will create groups, users, and we will join these users in that groups, and then we will apply group policies. Okay, let's get started. I am opening Hyper-V. Here I have lab DC2. This is the Active Directory. So I am opening this Active Directory mission. Okay, here. Okay, we'll start with Active Directory domains and users. Here what we will do, I already created finance user. Finance organizational unit, HR organizational unit. You know, right, how to create these organizational units. See here you have the domain name corp.local.com is our domain. So right click here, you can see new. You can create computer, contact, group, organizational unit. See, these are all we can create, but here I am taking organizational unit. I just creating here one more organizational unit, that is here I have finance, HR is there. I am creating account. Okay, this is my organizational unit. So we have HR department is there, account department is there, and finance department is there. So here, okay, so I will rename it with a capital letter so that we can identify easily. Okay, so here we have finance department is there, account department is there, HR department is there. So what I am doing, I am creating a user in finance with the name new user, and he is finance user. So I will just mention FN user 1. Logon name also FN user 1. I'm just giving a password, like here it really doesn't matter because okay, I'm giving a password and I'm mentioning user must. It is for lab purpose, so I'm selecting these two, but in real time scenario we will not do this. So I'm just selecting these two and click on next and finish. So here one more user I am creating, FN user 2. FN user 2. Okay, so here in HR I'm creating one more user, HR user 1, HR user 1. Okay. Okay, here I am creating one more user, HR user 2. HR user 2. Okay, in account also I am creating 2 users. AC user 1, AC user 1. Okay, here I am creating one more user. Okay, so we have 3 organizational units are there and we have users in this. So what we will do, we will apply group policy settings here. So as I told you earlier, what I will do, I'll create one local group policy. Okay, not here, in client mission we will do that. So here for applying group policy settings, what we have to do, we have to open GPMC, Group Policy Management Control Console. Okay, group policy management. Okay, if you'll open here you can see, okay, see here, this is the group policy management and this is the forest and this is the domain, because here we don't have multiple domains, we have only single domain is there. That is the reason here it is showing that forest and inside that we have domains, but here we have only one domain is there, that is carp.local.com, and inside that we have organizational units. Those are account, finance and HR. These are the 3 organizational units. Okay, as of now we don't have set any group policies, so this is the default domain policy. See here you can edit this and you can apply the policies, but for your identification, what you can do, you can create separate group policy, group policy objects here. So what I am doing here, what we will do, we will create, first we'll create password policy. Okay, so let's create. What I'm doing, I'm creating one more, create a group policy object in this domain and link it here. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a group policy object. So what is that name? Password policy. I'm just mentioning password policy. Okay, just click on OK. See here we have password policy, group policy object is there. So to edit these settings, what you have to do, you have to right click here, click edit. Okay, so here to apply password policy, what you have to do, go to user settings, system, here it is there. Okay, here in security settings, account policies, here you can see password policy. So here I am applying my password policy. So here what I am doing, enforce password history, means if you don't know this, what you can do, you will go to explain and you can read this, you can understand what is enforce password history means. It means this policy enables administrators to enhance security by ensuring that old passwords are not reused continuously. So default is 24. Here you can reduce the count. You can mention like up to 3 passwords. You cannot repeat the same password. So here he cannot reuse these 3 passwords. After he set different 3 passwords and 3 times he reset with different passwords, then he can use that before password. So I'm just keeping 3 and applying OK. Okay, maximum password is, so here you can see the minimum password is can be any value between 0 and 998. Determines the period of time that a password can be used before the system requires the user to change it. You can set passwords to expire after a number of days between 1 and 999. You can specify that password never expires days to 0. If the maximum password age is between this, the minimum password age must be less than maximum password age. So if the maximum password age is set to 0, the minimum password age can be any value between 0 and 998 days. It is a security best practice to have passwords expire every 30 to 90 days. So here default is 42 days. So this way, and so this is the policy. So here what we will do, we will define the setting password will expire in 42 days. So what I'll do, I'll keep it 30 days. Because the value of maximum age is now 30 days. For the following items will be changed to the suggested values. So this is the setting. See here, if I set 30 days, it is by default it's set to 29 days. See here, if I set to 40 days, so here the minimum password age is 29 days. So here maximum password age is 40 days. So here I am setting minimum password length. See here you can mention 0 to 14 means how many characters should be there. So here I am mentioning 5 characters should be there. And minimum password length, you should only enable configure this setting when trying to determine the potential impact of increasing the minimum password length setting in your environment. If the setting is not defined, audit events will not be issued. Is defined and is less than or equal to the minimum password length. So you can keep the same length or you can keep the less password length. So what I am doing, I am just keeping the same 5. Okay. And password must meet complexity requirements. If I'll enable this setting, so here it will must meet the complexity requirement. Means it has to be a special character, number and a small letter and capital letter should be there. So here this setting is not defined. Minimum password length may be configured to a maximum of 14. Minimum length. So I'm just keeping it as it is. Okay, store passwords using reversible encryption. So here once you set the password, it will store in reversible encryption. So this is my password policy I have set. So this is the policy I have updated. So what I will do, so here I just updated the policy. Okay, if you see the details, you can see owner and GPO status enabled. If you'll go to settings, you just close it. Here you can see the summary. See here, domain owner, when it modified, revisions and computer revisions, unique ID and GPO status is showing enabled. So these are the links. So as of now, we haven't linked this group policy to any OUs or by default it connected to domain, because under domain we have configured it, right? So by default it linked to domain. So enforcement is set to no by default. Link status is enabled and path is carp.local.com. So this is the security filtering. And here you can see delegation. These groups and users have specified permissions for this GPO. So here whoever are there in these groups, they can edit this group policy. Only this is the read permission, but remaining all groups have edit settings, delete, modify security settings. Means domain admins, enterprise admins and system admins can edit the group policy and they can delete the group policy, or they can modify the group policy. So here if you want to delegate, if you want to give group policy permissions to any group policy admins, like for that what you can do, you can provide permissions for them to give, like edit settings you have to provide. So here what setting, what group policy we have set, that policy is showing here. So here you no need to go and here right click edit and what are those are updated in policies. You cannot see like this. You can see in the settings itself, you can see the summary. So this is the setting we have applied. So user configuration enabled. So it is not configured, it was not defined yet. So it is showing us no settings defined. So this is the settings. And delegation. See here we see, right, like whoever is having permission to edit settings or delete settings or modify group policy, whoever is having the permissions, that we can see here. That setting you can see here. So if you want to delegate, like you want to give permissions to someone else, other admins to provide, like they can edit the group policy settings, you can just simply come here and here add those IDs. So here what I'm doing, I'm giving this group policy editing option to that HR members. So here you can provide a HR team. There we created 2 users, right? Instead of that, what I'm doing, I'm creating here one more group, that is HR. Here I'm creating a group, new group I'm creating, that is HR GPO. So they can so for them I'm giving edit permissions. So here I am giving HR GPO, and this is the group I have created here. What I will do, I will take one HR user and add this user into this group. So for that, what we will do, open this members. Here no one is there yet, so here I am giving HR user. So here two users are there, only one user I am giving the permission. Okay, HR user, this HR GPO can edit group policy settings. So here I am giving HR GPO group I am giving. See here you can select the locations also. If you'll expand it, you can see, you can just select directly, or you can here you can see HR. So you can give that entire OU, the delegation permission, or what you can do, you can just give HR group, check the name, see here. But if we'll so this is the location, HR is the location, and here I am giving this object, but that's fine, no need to edit here. If you have more users, for searching it will take time, so that time you can select your specific OU and you can add the members. So here for this group I am giving edit permissions. So here what I am giving, edit permissions. So he can just edit the permissions. Okay, first we will give read permission. Okay, and then we will see. Okay, he is having the read permission. Okay, so what I will do, these are the group policy settings, delegation and details. So here what I will do, I will link this group policy to specific OU we have to link, right? For example, okay, as of now what we will do, we will just see it was linked to domain. So we will see all the users are affecting, like, or this group policy is applying on their specific users or not, because it linked to the domain, right? So we will see that. Okay, we will log into our client missions.